Ted, no doubt it's been an interesting journey with the Golden River developments, the redevelopment of Belmont Park. It all seems to be coming to hand nicely.
Absolutely, Wes. Yes, we're obviously delighted with the progress that's been made and with the announcement this week. And it certainly has been a journey, that's for sure.
How did you go into, obviously, the recent discussions in relation to height? All of a sudden, we're up to, 53 stories?
Yes, well, obviously we don't get involved any longer, Wes, in the sense that after the sign-off with the developers then take over the day-to-day management of that. So in the essence of that last-minute question regarding the height, we didn't personally get involved. That was handled by Ian Meredith, the project manager for the Golden Group.
And obviously, I know we were talking ages ago in relation to 30 stories, but obviously it's financially viable for the Golden River development to be going to 53 stories?
Yes, really it was a question of common sense, and at the end of the day it's far better to have a limited number of towers going up to, say, the 53 limit or somewhere near that, rather than having more critical mass of X number of towers. So it limits the number of towers and a far better outcome for the site.
Personally, were you, I suppose, taken back by the decision that it was affirmative being outside the CBD?
Oh, no, not at all. In fact, we were expecting a positive outcome. We were very positive on the way through that this was just a minor impediment. And again, just a question thrown at the developers at the very last minute.
Only a minor impediment, but there's been hurdles along the way, hasn't there?
There have been a substantial number of hurdles, but I guess at the end of the day, Wes, that's to be expected. I mean, it's a prime site, as we all know, and this day and age you just have to conform with a whole host of regulations, and this is part and process of the development process. Unfortunately, you'd like to think that it wouldn't be as difficult as it is, but the reality dictates that it is.
And we read that the Golden Group are looking at going ahead, obviously, next year?
Absolutely, yes. They'll be cranking up and starting the development project within the next couple of months, I would think.
And what does it mean for Perth racing?
What it means for Perth racing is that, like a number of other race clubs around the country now, this will help underpin our future. I mean, the days of race clubs remaining viable based purely and simply on their core income stream is really a difficult situation. Therefore, the business model has had to change, and certainly we at Perth Racing have had a desire to have our business model centred around the entertainment industry, and this will enable us to turn Belmont Park into a 24/7 operation based on that. And as I say, this will underpin our future and provide the members with a whole range of benefits which obviously we would never have been able to offer to them without going into a project such as this.
Financially, when will the rewards be forthcoming for Perth racing?
Well, within the next couple of months we'll get the balance of the $50 million deposit, which is basically a payment up front from the whole process, and then we will start to use those funds to upgrade our facilities.
It must be gratifying for you as chairman, along with the committee, those that are still on the committee and those that are no longer there, because it's been a long process.
Oh, it's been a very extended process, one that's taken well over 10 years, as everyone in Perth would know. So there have been a lot of people along the way that have contributed to it, and I'm sure that, like myself, they're feeling a great deal of relief in one sense, and certainly very happy to see that signed off and that things are going to be happening now.
And there'd be personal satisfaction as well, Ted, due to the fact that there has been, for as long as I can remember, always a negative aspect that it would never go ahead.
Oh, good point, Wes. I mean, we've had nothing but negativity from a very small group of people all the way through, and a lot of well-informed people who have been telling us that this was a mission impossible. So from that perspective, it really is very gratifying to see this happen. Not that I ever lost any faith in it. I knew that it would happen one day, but what I didn't realise was the length of time that it would take.
Ultimately, Belmont Park, the redevelopment, are we looking at a scenario whereby the redevelopment will focus similarly to a Hong Kong?
We would certainly hope so. I mean, at the end of the day, if you have a look into the real long term, one would hope that eventually there will be night racing linked in, whether it be Hong Kong, but certainly into that time zone. And this is one of the key platforms. If I go back 10, 15 years, from a strategic point of view, we felt that we are in that time zone. And it's an opportunity for us, and it's something that's quite unique to Perth racing. And we see this as something of very great value in the longer term.
With our climate, night racing just lends itself to racing here in Perth.
Absolutely, but as you and everyone intimately involved in the industry would know, the one thing that does have to happen, it has to happen at a point of time when it's viable. And night racing in conjunction with the East Coast, of course, with the time difference, is not a viable option. But in the time zone, it becomes extremely attractive. I mean, if we were to run on a Wednesday or a Friday night in conjunction with Singapore, Hong Kong, or whoever else it would be of some note, well then that would satisfy a lot of people and provide us with another time slot, which, as you say, given our climate, would be very appealing to our public here.
It certainly will. Ted, with the monies that will be coming to Perth racing, obviously there's areas that needs to be spent on. From your point of view as chairman of the club, whereabouts do you want to see it spent initially?
The immediate attention will be towards the complete revamp of the grandstand, and obviously that'll be a stage process, and uppermost in our mind will be to create an entertainment complex that's where we can have conference facilities so that we can start to develop an income stream as soon as possible, complementary to our business.
Also, a new grandstand was touted, but I don't think people realise the actual cost. We'd probably be looking at, 80 to 100 million to establish a new grandstand, which it's not really feasible when you've got the structure there.
No, that's absolutely right. In fact, the number that you mentioned is pretty accurate. When we looked at this about 4 years ago, it was 80 million then. So with the costs in Perth really haven't stabilised. So you would definitely, as you say, be looking at 80 to 100 million. We certainly can't justify that, and given the fact that, as you say, we have a structure which has ticked all the boxes, we've obviously had that checked out, it makes far better sense for us to do a complete fit-out rather than to structurally knock it down, and the 80, 100 million, the cost-benefit analysis on that would be foolhardy and better spent in other areas.
You're just touching on the spending aspect. How prudent do you have to be once you do achieve the funds from the Golden River developments?
Oh, look, it's not an endless supply of money, and the whole philosophy behind what we have done there is to use the $50 million for structural improvements, and then the income that we get from the project over the lifespan of that project, those monies will be invested in hard assets to provide a permanent income stream. So whilst, a significant amount of money becomes available, there's still a real issue there from us to spend that wisely and to make sure that we achieve the second part of that equation.
It's interesting, isn't it? In the past, we look back, Ted, and I suppose we've sold off the assets, we've sold off part of the farm. We're doing that now, but then we're reinvesting in a manner in which it will keep us certainly afloat for a long time to come.
Yes, well, the difference between selling off the farm in previous generations to what we are doing now is a very simple one, because in the 70s what they were doing then, as you well know, they sold their real estate and then they used those funds, put them into stake money, and then when the good days ran out, which was in the mid-80s, we were then all sitting in the bunker with our tin hat on. Well, we certainly won't be repeating that, as I've just described, the object of the exercise will be to get that infrastructure done and then get that permanent income stream through investing the money wisely.
Congratulations. I know that you would have been very proud this week. Well done.
Thanks very much, Wes. Cheers.